man. First episode.
Yeah.
When the ball stops bouncing, we got Rich Convo here. Really excited for you guys to meet Rich. He's one of the few people that I would trust my life with. So, Rich, I guess there's no better introduction I can do than that. So, Rich, you want to tell the people who you are?
Yeah, I am currently a financial advisor. I run my own advisory group named after me, Rich Advisory Group. We help with investments, insurance, tax planning, estate planning, retirement stuff. Basically just wanted to create a one-stop shop for individuals to come to get all their financial needs, pretty much taken care of instead of having to coordinate, multiple advisors and CPAs and insurance agents. They come to one person, I run it, and just produce results for them,
No, that's crazy, man. I can speak for Rich myself. I've worked with Rich. My whole family's worked with Rich. Anyone that I love and trust has worked with Rich. But Rich, so when the ball stops bouncing, how in the world did you start a tax advisory group? How did you get into this? Understand that you were a former professional athlete, as well as you played at a very high level in college. So where'd you go to college?
So I went to the University of Texas at El Paso. Got a finance degree there. I initially wanted to go into psychology because I'm really interested in the mind. But basically what happened was graduating from high school in 2009, we were going through, the recession, the housing crisis. And I just remember getting a call from my mom and she was just like, we losing the house. And I'm just like, wait, what do you mean? And, being young, you don't really understand what's going on. And, my mom was just like, the mortgage is too high and I can't pay it, But above and beyond that, there was no true understanding of like, okay, what is a recession? Why does this happen? Why is it happening specifically with the housing market? And I just took it upon myself, like, if I'm going to spend time here, I might as well learn something that's going to make sure that I can prevent this from happening to future generations of my family.
So your family really pushed you into your career field?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you like, and granted, I know you were an athlete, so on the athletic side, you really just, okay, well, this is my plan B, or was there ever a plan B?
There was never a plan B. I was just like, it's cool for me to learn this stuff, but I honestly didn't know I was going to be a financial advisor until like my senior year. I was already doing business and I was doing a finance degree, but I Googled who makes the most money with a finance degree, and the financial advisor was up there by a lot. So I'm like, that makes the decision easy.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, I was just thinking, I'm going to be using that somewhere down the line. The goal is to make it to the NFL. Or if you play basketball, the NBA, but I tore my ACL my true senior year.
Sheesh.
4 games into having like one of the best seasons I ever had at the university. And the thing about that, which was crazy, like growing up, I never really understood people that had like depression.
Right.
I'm like, bro, just look at life this way. There's no reason for you to be depressed. But when I tore my ACL, bro, it was probably the lowest of the lows because
senior year, right?
Yeah, and on top of that, it felt like my identity was taken away from me.
Right.
Like if I can't play this sport, I played football since I was 6 years old, and I never played any other sport. You know what I'm saying? I was just a football kid, like, you know what I mean? So I spent a lot of time just like depressed and like feeling like a victim. The only thing that really saved me was that I didn't redshirt my freshman year.
Okay.
So, my coach at the time was fighting for me to get a red shirt, and I was able to come back the following year. But lo and behold, that coach got fired, new staff came in, and from there it was controversy. Primarily because as a young dude, I really carried like this big brother complex.
Yep.
And this coach came in and he was just kicking people off the team left and right. Not showing up to class, you gone. You smoke weed, you gone, Yep. And I remember just going to talk to him one day, and I'm like, look, I understand you gotta do a job here, but I don't think you fully understand what you're doing to these young men.
You gotta teach.
Like it's your job to win, but it's also your job to teach us about life and how to conduct ourselves as men.
Yep.
And you sending these young black men back to where they came from when they just celebrated leaving that place, it's detrimental to their whole psychology, their whole mental. I couldn't imagine. When I signed my scholarship, bro, those couple of months leading up to that, like, it might as well be in a parade for winning a championship. Like, I was just getting so much love, and then now to send somebody back and you in a spot where it's like, bro, what happened?
And that's what they don't tell you. So, like, a lot of times what people don't know is being a college athlete, scholarships are 1 year renewable. right? So every year your back's against the wall. You have to figure out how to perform at the highest level. But for a lot of us, it's, hey, we came from wherever we came from, and now we're trying to progress into the next level and the highest level to be able to do different things for our family, and whether that's education, whether that's playing at the highest level, ultimately being able to use college as a platform to be able to change the lives that came after us. So being a college athlete, was there something in particular that you learned or that you would do different?
Man, if I was to be nitpicky about myself, bro, like, you know, I grew up single parent household. It was just me and my mom. Sometimes my brothers would be around, but it was just primarily us. But it wasn't until I got older as a man that I really understood as like an adolescent. I didn't like listening to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not in the sense of like, I'm not going to listen to a coach, but like, as soon as they start giving me constructive criticism about something I was doing wrong, it was like I don't know, some type of correlation of like, my father was never around. What made you think you going to correct me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I took a lot of stuff personal during my journey through college, and I felt like if I didn't do that, I could have excelled at a higher level. But outside of that, I felt like, you know, I was showing up, I was going to class, I was doing the extra work, really trying to put myself in a position to win. But, you know, things just got rocky for me. So my true senior year, tore my ACL. That redshirt year I came back, ended up getting locked up. Got locked up. It was a big fight in front of the bar in front of, it's called Cincinnati Street in El Paso. It was probably like 20 football players fighting some regulars that usually go to that bar. I was the only person that got arrested. Crazy. You know what I'm saying?
So why did you get arrested? Did you beat up the most people? Like,
when the police came, somebody pointed me out, and then it was just all she wrote. And then from there, was kicked off the team because stuff that led up. It was just things piling up, bro. And I just, from my ACL to that, to the coach doing stuff, I was just like feeling confined. Like, God, why you really doing this to me? Yeah. So anyway, I was able to kind of move from that situation, still train for my pro day. Got a call from Oakland, went out there for training camp, but that was short-lived, and ended up going to Canada, doing some Canadian ball. But at that point, I felt like I just truly lost the love for the game. And football is one of those sports, man, like, you can't just go out there and dilly-dally. Like, if you don't really love that, you're not really putting your best effort into that at practice and in games, you're going to get yourself hurt.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. So let's just walk through this. Okay, so you tear your ACL your senior year. Now you go into your redshirt year, preparing. You're still like, okay, I'm still rich, right? I'm still the best guy, right? I still went out there. I done dealt with these dudes my whole career. I know what I can do.
Right.
ACL back. I already know what time it is. I'm going to the league. You get your call from Oakland. Now Oakland goes however it goes, and now you go to the CFL, right? Then you're like, my heart's not in this. How do you fall back, or what's your mentality? Do you now click back into the athlete mentality, but trying to find that pivot? What's that look like for you?
So when I left Canada, man, I was like, look, Canadian football not it. And I'm like, I'm gonna still try for the NFL. Right. I just need to get back, be grounded, and make it happen. So luckily, my older brother, shout out to Cleveland, man, appreciate you, let me stay with him and his family. And I was still training. But bro, being back home and being broke was like the nastiest feeling. Like, I wasn't making that much money in college, but like having no money was, I couldn't fathom that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a job and still work out. Yeah. First job is enterprise rental car, because I couldn't get a financial advisor job, even though I had a finance degree. They said you don't have enough work experience. Yes.
How do you get work experience?
Where am I supposed to work that's going to prepare me to be a financial advisor that you want me to have work experience? So anyway, man, ended up getting a job at Enterprise, which was a blessing. Started making some money, but I was working at Enterprise from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 6 days a week.
Hours.
Wasn't no working out. You know, so, you know, and my agent, you know, I think everybody runs through this situation with certain agents. They're not really putting you at the forefront because you're not making them no money at that time. So things just started to dwindle away, you know? Yeah.
So things are dwindling away. How do you navigate in the finance, though? So I understand you're at Enterprise. Hours are crazy. You don't even have time to apply or interview. Yeah. How do you get into finance?
So the thing about Enterprise is you always have to wear a suit. And we used to do this thing where we would drop people off back at their car if they had it like at a mechanic shop or whatever. And one day I was dropping this older gentleman off, and we got promoted at Enterprise for customer service. So I couldn't just sit in the car and just look at somebody.
Like Uber driver.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I actually got to create an experience with him. So I'm asking the dude, like, what do you do for work? And he says, I'm a financial advisor.
Okay.
Been doing it for the last 30 years, blah, blah, blah. Got a firm down the street. This is me. I'm living in Riverside. And I was like, oh, for real? I was like, I got a finance degree. I plan on doing that someday, you know, when I save up enough money and get enough work experience. He was like, meet me at my office next week. Hands me his card. So, still working 7 to 7.
Right.
How the fuck I'm supposed to make it to this man's office?
Yo, you don't have a choice. You gotta bet on yourself.
So on my lunch break, I just, you know, grabbed something quick, drove to his office, did an interview, and they ended up giving me an offer. It was like, Richard, hey, as long as, you know, your background check works out and your credit is good, you in the door. Well, I went to jail, which I didn't disclose.
Right.
And then
his fingers crossed.
And then, bro, I go and I check my credit because, you know, back then it's like I don't even know what that score is.
College student.
I don't even know. I don't really even know what the numbers mean.
Yeah, why would you care?
All I know is 800 is good. Yeah. Everything else is like, what is that? So I look at my credit, bro, and my last surgery from college, they put as debt on my credit. I had a $30,000 surgery.
Yeah, medical bill. Yeah, medical bill.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they called me one day. I finally get the medical bill off because I called my school and just went crazy on them. Like, y'all messing up opportunities for me and all this. So got that removed. And then they weren't really tripping on the jail stuff because it was just nonviolent. Well, it's nonviolent as fighting is.
Fight is a fight.
So the last hurdle though was like, okay, we just need $3,000 for you to be able to take your license test and pay for all the initial fees. I'm looking like, bro, I don't have $3,000. I'm making minimum wage, or 15, whatever I was making at the time. So I tried my best to figure it out. I couldn't, and I just called the dude one day. I was like, hey, Mr. Glenn, I appreciate the opportunity, but I just can't. I can't do it. I don't have the money. Nobody in my family got this money. I don't even feel comfortable asking anybody else. And the dude's on the phone, and he's like, Richard, if it wasn't for the money, would you still do it? I said, absolutely. He hung up immediately. He's like, I'm going to call you back. He hung up.
Yeah.
Calls me back. He's like, Richard, don't worry about the money. Meet me at Wells Fargo tomorrow. I have never met this man before the day he handed me his card. We walked right into that Wells Fargo. He pulled that money out. He handed me the envelope, and he said, Richard, I don't care how much money you end up making. You ain't never got to give me this money back. I don't even want you to bring it up.
Man.
So I went, put that deposit with the firm, and I thought everything was good.
Yeah.
But I guess something happened with their back office where they said the home office chimed in and said, we can't have somebody with a bad credit score and a criminal record.
Finance.
But the wild thing that I left out was between the time he gave me the money and the time that I was actually getting terminated with them, I left my job at Enterprise. Because I needed time to study. Yeah. You know, because they told me you need to be here from 1 to 4 p.m. So I was like, man, I'll go work at LA Fitness or something. I don't care. Yeah, I'm willing to do whatever. So now I'm working at LA Fitness. I get a call from the managing partner. I remember this like it was yesterday, bro. It's like 8 a.m. He's like, hey, Richard, got some bad news. We just not going to be able to offer you the position because of the things that I thought were okay, but we've been overridden